Hello, everybody. Alongside Don Helbig, I'm Ryan Sir, and welcome to the Pick Six, the podcast by the Attractions Group, where we bring the latest stories from the attractions and amusement industry.
Thank you, Ryan. Before we dive into this week's Pick Six, let me remind our listeners where they can tune in to the Attractions Group podcast. Catch us on your favorite podcast platforms and be sure to subscribe, like, and share with your theme park friends.
Yeah, so let's get into it, Don. All right, so theme park insiders readers have overwhelmingly chosen Super Nintendo World as the best new attraction of 2023 in the 2024 Theme Park Insider Awards. That's a little confusing, but I imagine that it's only fair that you vote for that in 2024.
Right.
Um, the victory is attributed to Universal Studios Hollywood's installment of the video game inspired land. The official opening of Super Nintendo World for American theme park enthusiasts took place on February 17th, 2023, after a month-long soft opening on Universal Studios Hollywood's lower lot. While Universal Studios Japan introduced the first Super Nintendo World on March 18th, 2021, with Japan's borders mostly closed to tourists, the Hollywood launch provided the first opportunity for the majority of theme park insider readers to immerse themselves in the captivating attraction. Anchored with an exhilarating Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge, an augmented reality dark ride that brings the beloved video game to life, Super Nintendo World has consistently drawn substantial crowds to Universal's California theme park since its grand opening. Beyond the Mario Kart ride, the land boasts key challenges, practical physical games that the individuals or small groups can enjoy at various locations. Completing these tasks earns visitors virtual keys, paving the way for the ultimate showdown against Bowser Jr. for control of the Mushroom Kingdom. And that's what we want is control of the Mushroom Kingdom. You actually have to buy a little wristband thing to play these games. And it's almost like a big thick magic band with a big thing my friend has when he showed it to me. They're like $50. They're expensive, but he said the games are super fun.
Yeah, it sounds like that. And it was fun reading the theme park insider, all the different awards, who finished where. So highly recommend that you read Theme Park Insider. Universal Orlando, for our second story, Universal Orlando Resort, has bid farewell to the traditional paper theme park maps. They're ushering in a new era where guests are required to download the park's mobile app. This took place effective January 1st. The shift was highlighted by construction or with an announcement on X, formerly Twitter. They shared images of the now adorned paper map kiosk at both Universal Studios Florida and Universal Islands of Adventure. The kiosk, once home to these tangible maps, these keepsakes, they now showcase advertisements for the resort's mobile app, promoting its features like wait times, show schedules, maps, and more. While the convenience of paper maps is acknowledged, their environmental impact is a concern, prompting many companies, including Universal Orlando, to adopt those eco-friendly practices. However, it's worth noting that not all guests have access to smartphones for app usage. Now, Ryan, will you miss the tactile experience of paper maps at Universal Orlando Resort, or do you embrace the convenience of the mobile app on your
I
phone?
am 110% a mobile app guy. Their app is particularly good, actually. But I'm surprised that physical maps didn't go away with COVID. I thought once we came back from
I am
COVID
too.
that but
I didn't think we'd see them
if
again.
Universal's doing it, Disney will always have maps, I bet, because people use those as keepsakes and so on. But I think that they'll be gone from most U.S. parks within 3 years at this point.
And we want to hear from you, our listening audience. What are your thoughts on the paper maps going away at Universal Orlando Resort? You can send us what your thoughts are on our X. It's at attractions_GRP.
Yeah, thanks, Don. All right, so Tiana's Bayou Adventure stands out as the most eagerly anticipated domestic parks update for 2024. I've been watching the construction myself with my visits down there. Poised to replace Splash Mountain at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World. This Princess and the Frog themed musical adventure takes guests on a journey down the bayou, continuing the narrative from the 2009 animated film. The upcoming ride promises a plethora of new audio animatronic figures and a captivating soundtrack featuring both the original compositions and familiar tunes from the film. Collaborating with an award-winning artist, PJ Morton and Terrence Blanchard ensures that a musical experience that will resonate with audiences. Adding to the excitement, original cast members Jennifer Lewis, Bruno Campos, Michael Leon Woolley, and Annika Nanj Rose, boy, do I hope I said that right, return to reprise their voice roles. As of now, the opening date for this enchanted attraction remains undisclosed, not uncertain, heightening the anticipation for the grand reveal. I believe that we were under the understanding that this will be a late 2024 edition. It's still got all like scaffolding up and stuff. But what were your thoughts on Splash Mountain in general? Were you a big fan of it?
Loved it. Loved it. One of my favorite rides. Um, I didn't mind. There's a lot of times, like you mentioned, and other times we've been talking about water rides. Just that walking around the park. If you get soaked all day, but I loved it. One of my first Disney World attractions that I experienced. It was something that I had heard of for years before I ever visited the Magic Kingdom. So I was a big fan of the ride, and sad to see it being transformed.
Yeah. The only constant is change, especially with Disney, and it's clearly nothing safe, but still,
Yeah, I mean, I understand the reasons and things, and you need a refresh, and this is going to be more relevant to the guests that are going there today. But I just had so much fun on Splash Mountain.
yeah, and I always look online with Disney stuff, and they're calling it Tiana's Rainforest Cafe Adventures because it's a year out from opening, but people have already decided they don't like it. But just wait, it's going to be another 10 months or so, and it might blow your mind. All right, Don, what's next?
Well, exciting developments at Dorney Park near Allentown, Pennsylvania, as the Northeast inaugural dive coaster, Iron Menace, begins to take shape. Crafted by B&M, this coaster boasts a 161-foot lift hill and a thrilling 95-degree angled first drop, providing a unique rider experience. Notably, the coaster introduces a groundbreaking tilted loop, a first of its kind inversion for dive coasters. The ride features four inversions, a corkscrew, and concludes with a left-hand turn into the final brake run. The distinctive yellow, black, and orange trains equipped with the vest-style restraints are making their way to the park for the 2024 season. Iron Menace, it's the first original roller coaster since Hydra in 2005, so been a long time for guests at that park to see a new roller coaster. It's very exciting, and it promises an exhilarating addition to Dorney Park attractions.
Yeah, very exciting. I mean, dive coasters. This one seems like it's going to be special. It's not the biggest, it's not the tallest, but it's one of the best themed in the United States, at least.
I think so too, Ryan. I think
And
it's going to be, if not the best, it's going to be in the argument for the best. I think Dorney Park, Ryan Eldridge, their PR director there, he has done a phenomenal job of creating interest and excitement in this new ride.
yeah, I completely agree. Dorney Park is definitely one that the average guest or the average person might gloss over because it's not the biggest park, but it's definitely making waves with this one. And then they expanded the theme, of course. We've talked about this before, but this past year at their Halloween Haunt event, they shared the theme for one of their haunt mazes with the ride itself, the abandoned steel mill theme. So I think that that's cool. Hats off to Dorney Park. It's really a
Yeah,
fantastic job by
they've
them.
they've done a great job there. And think about this. I mean, you and I, we know a lot of park fans that if their home park goes more than a year without a new coaster, they're kind of unhappy. Think about Dorney Park, 19 years since their last roller coaster installation.
Yeah, you could probably point to a couple different. Well, it's 19 years since the last new installation. I
New,
think I
right, with
think
Hydra, right,
Stinger was moved, right?
right.
Okay, so and Stinger's gone now
Well, the
too.
original, yeah, the original roller coaster,
Yeah,
it was Hydra. So yeah, 2005. So that's a long time. Being in Pennsylvania, they're in the heartbeat of the coaster enthusiast. I think Pennsylvania, they've got just so many parks, so many roller coasters, um, and just a high percentage of roller coaster enthusiasts. When you look at any of the different clubs, the makeup of them, Pennsylvania as one of the highest, rates. So very exciting for that part of the region to have this attraction going in the Dorney Park.
Yep, I completely agree, and I look forward to checking it out when it opens in the spring of this year, 2024. That's a little weird. Spring of next year, not this time. Now it's 2024. All right, so moving on to some sad news. Former IAPA president and CEO John Graff. He unfortunately passed away following a courageous battle with Parkinson's disease. John had a significant and long lasting impact on IAPA and our industry around the world. He was inducted into the IAPA Hall of Fame in 2001 for his contributions to the association and the industry. He's survived by his lovely wife, Kay. So thoughts and prayers go out to Mr. John Graff. And, we appreciate your contribution to the industry. Thank you so much for what you've done.
Yeah, and that's a pretty prestigious honor to be in the IAPA Hall of Fame. So, he'll always have um, a spot in everybody's hearts, involved with IAPA and the industry. And, um, again, our thoughts with the family.
Yeah, completely agree. All right, Don, let's get some happy news in there.
Well, in an exciting development, Busch Gardens Williamsburg is gearing up for a thrilling addition in 2025. We can now say that's next year. Doesn't
Mm.
seem like it's so far off now. Although details are scarce, all signs point to a new roller coaster taking shape in the expansive back corner of the park, occupying the long vacant space that had once housed the Drachenfire roller coaster. This mysterious project is generating a lot of buzz among the fans, as you can imagine. The 4-acre field in the Oktoberfest section adjacent to the Fest House has been selected as a site for this eagerly anticipated attraction. Last month, Busch Gardens, they filed a permit application with James City County under the intriguing name 2025 attraction. Highlighted that's highlighting the anticipation for what's to come. I think we're gonna have to stay tuned as the park prepares to unveil the next chapter in its roller coaster legacy, reviving the excitement once held by the legendary Drachenfire.
The lesson we've learned from this, friends, is that if you're complaining that they haven't replaced anything on the vortex spot yet, when did Dragonfire get removed?
Drachenfire years ago. That I mean, I don't like being negative about any roller coaster because I always say every roller coaster was somebody's favorite. It was somebody's favorite ride. A lot of some people loved it, but first year it opened, um, first ride on it, it was just so rough. Was not a fun experience. Got off the ride and I said I got to do this again to make sure it was as bad as I just thought. Sat in a different section of the train, same thing, and I was thinking, okay, now I sat in the front, toward the back, maybe in the middle, it's better. Same thing. It was the first roller coaster that was new that I had ever ridden that I wasn't excited to get back in line and ride it again. So memorable for me for the wrong reasons. But I mean, the theming looked great. Um, the layout, the design, everything about it looked good except for the actual ride experience. That was at least my opinion of it. I don't know. I mean, your mileage may vary. Our listeners out there to experience Drachenfire.
Yeah, there's a fantastic YouTube video. It might be Defunct Land that did it. Just search for Dragonfire on YouTube. It'd be the first thing that popped up. It's a documentary on the ride, how it came to be, and what its downfall was. But assuming the information in the documentary was correct, which it all kind of checks out, and I'm just paraphrasing here, obviously, but they built it at the same time that they built Kumba at Busch Gardens, Tampa. They wanted a B&M for both parks, but B&M did not have the capacity to do 2 parks that year. So they went with Arrow, and then Arrow tried to make it look like a B&M essentially, and it just didn't go very well. Um, B&M even at the time was embracing new technology while Arrow was still bending pipes, on the ground. And they replaced huge sections. I think they removed a loop. Like, they drastically changed the layout of the ride. Which, by the way, is that a new credit? That's a good question. Uh,
Right.
but so ultimately, it met its demise. But Busch Garden is obviously sprung back. It's funny because that park has so few bad rides in it. It's hard to imagine that one that's collectively asserted as one of the worst was home to it. You know, a very infamous their son of beast, shall we say.
Right.
Coo
Every park has one, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Alright, Don. Well, pick 6, man. It's some exciting stuff. The year just started, so we're starting to see, like, developments for, like, 2025 now. That's a little weird to think. But parks are closed here in the Cincinnati area, about 4 months away, and they'll start opening up again, so, you know.
And then we'll be on to the, new capital announcement and everything before we know it.
Yeah, and then we'll be on to Halloween, and then on to Christmas, and then we'll be right back here where we started again. Oh man, our jobs are cyclical. Okay, cool. Yeah, so make sure you follow us on all your favorite or all your favorite podcast apps, Apple, Google, Spotify, and so on. Subscribe on YouTube, smash that like button, leave a comment. We'd love to hear it, and shoot us a tweet at attractions_GRP. We'll see you next week.
And
Oh, go ahead and visit Don's blog.
no, no, yeah, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Theme Parks by Don um, is my blog, and Ryan, I was really happy with how it worked out. I did the soft launch starting at the end of September, published 50 different pieces of content. The content was viewed by people representing 28 different countries. So what that showed me was the different skills and things that I had learned, the different the knowledge that I had learned about like SEO and using the right keywords and things like that. That all those things I learned worked, and I'm looking forward to what I can do with the Theme Parks by Don blog this year. And one of the things we'll be integrating a lot of our episodes onto that. So if you happen to miss one, whether you just weren't able to listen in your car, or you can't get YouTube or something like that, you'll be able to go to the blog and watch that episode.
Yeah, so I really do like your episodes and stuff, and a lot of this time you can write about things you've experienced. You went to Hershey Park's Christmas and stuff, and you wrote about that, and anytime you weren't able to go to an experience, like I was able to go, and you were able to like have like a firsthand experience, tell you a primary source on it. So very very cool work with the blog. I really enjoy reading it. I really do.
Well, thank you, Ryan. And I've tried to be different. There's so many different people out there writing about the industry, and what I know is there's a lot of low hanging fruit. I know there's a lot of interest in parks that don't get a lot of attention, and that's one of the things in 2024 that I hope to do with the blog is give some of the parks a little love, and let people know they exist and why you should go visit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, make sure link in the description. It has been for months now, so if you haven't seen it yet, you need to check it out. Themeparksbydon.com. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week.